Well, the Home Run Derby got off to a good start as the Big Dumper took care of business. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Rodriguez, and welcome to the All-Star Game version of Dodgers Latest right here on YouTube. Love the support that you give us. Hit me up on Instagram and on X over at JRod Show. And of course, hit that thumbs up button here on YouTube. We're growing every day. We love the comments. Lots of good stuff as we get into the Midsummer Night's Classic, the All-Star Game heading to Atlanta. I was actually, the last time it was there in the year 2000, I was there. Derek Jeter was the MVP. Sammy Sosa put on a show at the Home Run Derby. So 5 Dodgers will be at this All-Star Game. Bunch of them in the starting lineup. Shohei will be the DH. Freddie Freeman's at first base. Will Smith will be the catcher. Clayton Kershaw will probably pitch, from what I'm hearing, the second inning of this game. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto is there, although he will not pitch because he pitched on Sunday against the Giants, but he will be there. So 5 Dodgers representing the champs as we get ready for the National League and the American League next year in Philadelphia, by the way. And that we'll get into why that's an important city in terms of Dodger All-Star Game history. So let's get into this All-Star Game first in terms as it relates for the Dodgers. Lots of good stuff. Remember the 1995 game in Arlington, Texas, home of the Rangers? Well, Hideo Nomo started that game for the National League, became the first Japanese-born player to start an All-Star game. So clearly history was made that night in Arlington. Also, remember, you have to go back to last year. Also in Arlington, Teoscar Hernandez became the first Dodger to win the Home Run Derby as he outlasted Bobby Witt. And also in Arlington, and also last year, it was Shohei Ohtani who hit his first All-Star home run in those god-awful uniforms. Remember those uniforms that the National and American League wore last year? Awful. Thank God that they have reverted back to the way it was and it should be. Each team will be wearing their jersey, their respective jersey. It's not a souvenir jersey. It's not a theme jersey. It is their home or away jersey, as that's what they will wear at the All-Star Game. So it'll be great to go back to that format as usual. Home Run Derby, do what you want. Put whatever kind of batting practice jerseys, batting practice hats, whatever you want. But the All-Star Game, they should wear their own team jerseys. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. So Shohei Ohtani, who had his first All-Star Game home run, will be back in the lineup as he will be leading off for the National League, and Dave Roberts. So good stuff. And of course, seems like whenever it's in Texas, man, Dodgers seem to thrive in these All-Star games. Speaking of Texas, speaking of thriving, well, it was Fernando Valenzuela who made history in the Astrodome in 1986. This is wild, right? He ended up striking out the side in that game. It was the second time that he struck out the side in an All-Star game. That was the first time it's ever happened in baseball, right? Fernando did it in 1984 in San Francisco, did it again in 86 in Houston, became the first player to ever strike out the side in an All-Star game twice. And in that game in Houston in 1986, Fernando ended up pitching 3 shutout innings in that game and struck out 5 consecutive batters. He tied Carl Hubble for the Major League All-Star Game record of 5 consecutive strikeouts. I mean, Hubble struck out some heavy hitters like Ruth, Gehrig, Al Simmons, Joe Cronin, Jimmy Fox. Fernando got Mattingly. He got Jesse Barfield. I think he got the pitcher, Teddy Higuera, for as he tied Carl Hubble. But an amazing afternoon, evening in Houston. Fernando, by the way, was not the MVP in that game in 1986. But Fernando will always have a lore in the All-Star Game as he became the first pitcher to ever strike out the side twice in an All-Star Game and tied Carl Hubble with 5 consecutive strikeouts. An amazing night in the great indoors of Houston. Also another historic night, 1996 in Philadelphia. Mike Piaza had a couple of hits, including a titanic home run against Charles Nagy, and Mike Piaza became the fifth Dodger to win the MVP. Well, it was the fifth time a Dodger was named MVP of the All-Star game. Steve Garvey did it twice for the Dodgers. Maury Wills also won it. Don Sutton also won it. And then Piaza, of course. Amazing night for Mike Piaza. And, of course, that was a bit of a homecoming for him, right? As he did it in front of his hometown crowd out in Philadelphia. And, of course, next year, the All-Star Game will be in Philadelphia. 250-year anniversary of the United States, 1776 to 2026. So it'll be another historic night. And, we'll see if the Dodgers can do anything. But Mike Piaza, fifth time a Dodger was named MVP of the All-Star Game as he won it in 1996. And, of course, I don't know if that ball's come down yet. That ball he hit off Charles Nagy at Veterans Stadium, by the way. Interesting stuff. So Steve Garvey did it twice. Maury Wills, Don Sutton, and Mike Piaza, the only Dodgers to win the MVP of the All-Star Game. Maury Wills won the very first All-Star Game MVP. Well, we've talked about trades. We talked about Nolan Arenado. You guys responded and saying, no, we don't want anything part to do with it. And I agree with you. I don't think it makes any sense for the Dodgers to go after Nolan Arenado. But there is another Cardinal that the Dodgers seem to be interested in, and that's Lars Nbar. Who is Lars Nbar? Well, he's a left-handed hitter. He's a local kid, right? He's from Southern California, went to USC. And here's where it gets interesting. He's having almost a career year in home runs, right? He's got 12 home runs this year. His career high is 14. Left-handed batter, outfielder, and what he does more than anything else is he gets on base. He's a high on-base percentage guy. A lot of walks, a lot of hits. He has found a little bit of the power stroke this year, and he plays an outfielder. Now, of course, Michael Conforto, you immediately think of him. Would he replace Michael Conforto, who has struggled mightily this year, but has picked it up a bit? He hit over 300 on this last Dodger road trip before the end of the All-Star break. But what makes it more interesting about Lars Nbar, forget the Southern California roots, he has Japanese roots. Why is that important? Well, he was teammates with Shohei Ohtani at the World Baseball Classic for Team Japan. He was on Team Japan that beat Team USA in Miami to win the World Baseball Classic. Remember when Ohtani struck out Mike Trout? Well, Lars Nbar was on Team Japan. He has Japanese roots, so there is that familiarity. Would Shohei push for a trade? Would he sign off on it? I don't know if he's LeBron James kind of pushing on himself on the Dodgers front office, but it is interesting that Lars Nbar is out there. It would be kind of a subtle, nuanced kind of a deal, but keep that in your back pocket as we get into the second half of the season. And Lars Nbar, Southern California kid, Japanese roots, may find a reunion with Shohei Ohtani in the second half of the season and may find himself in Dodger blue. Cardinals, they have to figure out what they want to do. They're a game and a half out of the wild card. Are they buyers? Are they sellers? Still got a little bit of time, a couple of weeks before the trading deadline hits, but Lars Nbar could be someone the Dodgers would be interested in. So it's All-Star Game Tuesday, National League against American League. Tarek Skubal for the American League, Paul Skeens for the National League. A pitching matchup for the ages. By the way, Dodgers roughed up both guys this year, so it's always good to see that. And again, from what we understand, Clayton Kershaw will pitch the second inning of this game for the National League. Freddie Freeman's the starting first baseman. Shohei's the starting DH. Will Smith, the starting catcher. All right, Dodgers are off till Friday before they open up a six-game homestand against the Brewers. Brewers and Twins come to town. Always fun to talk about what's going on. Enjoy the game, and remember, it's always time for Dodger baseball.